Fun with failure.
Hello and welcome, this is Dallas. Haven't done the editor's choice in a while, so I decided, hey, what the hell. So I collected 5 stories that really stood out to me, even though I only try to pick the best for each episode. So I hope you enjoy. Here we go. So, as with many high school biology classes, dissection eventually comes up at some point in the year. And no matter how strong your stomach is, there's just something gut-churning about cutting into your first animal. In my class, dissection came up at the end of the year. We were spending the day dissecting rats and cataloging their parts, and the next day we'd identify them for the test. We were split into groups of 4, each having a different responsibility. There was a pinner, a dissector, a labeler, and a note-taker. Normally, the more squeamish people took the titles of labeler and note-taker, but I, having done a bit of hunting, opted for dissector. The note-taker and labeler in our group were girls, who hated even seeing a dead animal, and the pinner was a quiet guy, who seemed pretty meh about the whole thing. My job involved simply following the instructions on how to dissect our specimen, and perform said duties via scalpel and forceps. Now, by the hand of some cruel god, our rat just happened to be pregnant with 13 jelly bean-sized ratlings. To make matters worse, we were unaware of this little factor, until I sliced into its guts to reveal pale pink rat fetuses. The discovery was both repulsing and enthralling. With expert precision and grace, I levered the forceps around one of the little rat babies and gently plucked it from the womb. Then, being the paramount of student integrity, I proceeded to lean forward and wave it around at my more squeamish lab partners. Did I mention I was a little jerk as a 9th grader? The note-taker, a timid young lass, screamed bloody murder at the sight and began flailing her arms like it was Judgment Day. Unfortunately, I was in an awkward position, hunched over the lab table with the rat fetus clamped in the unwieldy forceps. Her flailing arms caught the forceps full on and rammed the foul, fleshy jelly bean straight up my nose. I felt the arid stench of the formaldehyde and preserved rat fetus invade my nose. I ended up cursing, dropping the forceps, plugging my nose, and blowing a rat loogie right onto the table. My male partner began laughing like a devil, while the other female counterparts went rigid. Meanwhile, the poor girl I taunted drew the attention of our teacher, who came over to calm her down and asked what the heck was going on. I could only rub my nose furiously, while my male partner explained in giggles. Our teacher saw the rat babies all swaddled in their mother's womb, the slimy one on the table, and then me rubbing my nose furiously. I guess they picked up on it pretty quick, because they started getting everyone to calm down, as the rest of the class stared at us. I ended up only getting a verbal warning, because I think the teacher felt sorry for me and didn't want the entire thing to be escalated. The girl I taunted switched with another group, as did the other girl. Both decided that they hated me from then on, and I didn't blame them. Still, they weren't the only ones who really suffered. I still shudder to this day thinking about the ungodly thing being stuffed up my snot shooter. A few years ago, when I was 15 or 16 years old, I was attending a family reunion. All of my dad's extended family got together in the park for a barbecue and potluck. The adults were all sitting around eating meat and drinking beer. Most of the older kids were playing frisbee or kicking around the soccer ball in the field out past the picnic area. A few of the little kids were running around playing tag or something, when suddenly, this one kid who was around 3 or 4 started screaming and freaking out. He was standing dead still and yelling at the top of his lungs. A couple of the other kids were running and yelling that there were hornets. Turns out they had stumbled on a hornet's nest in the ground, and this one little kid was standing right above it getting the crud stung out of him. I'm standing close by, and I can actually see the small cloud of hornets swarming up. For a second, I just froze. Then I decided I was going to be a hero. I ran as fast as I could to the kid and scooped him up in my arms. I turned back towards the picnic area and I was running as fast as I could. My heart was pounding hard, but I admit at that moment I was feeling heroic. The parents were starting to run toward us. They were going to be so proud of me. And then something hit me like a red-hot poker right between my shoulder blades, and then another on my neck, and then on the side of my face. I could feel them all over the back of my arms. A fracking hornet swarm. I screamed like an 8-year-old girl and flung my hands up in the air. The little kid that I was holding went flying. He landed on his head with a dull thud. I just kept running. I didn't even look back. The kid ended up having a decent gash on his head to go along with all the hornet stings. No medals were handed out that day. This TIFU goes back several years, but it seems to be allowed. I was a young man then, more of a boy as you soon will realize. Regardless, I really should have and probably did know better than to FU in a quite spectacular fashion. Our small city park had a monkey island, a concrete island populated by several species of smallish monkeys, surrounded by a moat filled with slimy water, which the monkeys couldn't or wouldn't traverse. As a teenage idiot surrounded by other teenage idiots, we would toss chewing gum, popcorn, pop rock candy, and such over to the monkeys for our entertainment. They would reciprocate with surprising accuracy, return fire of monkey crap. All good stuff for dumb butts like us. Fueled by stolen whiskey from our father's liquor cabinet, we collectively decided that we should build a bridge and liberate our brethren imprisoned on Monkey Island. A trip down several alleys in our neighborhood produced sufficient boards and such for a passable monkey bridge to freedom. As soon as we deployed the bridge, the monkeys began to explore and test their new path to freedom. My drunken teenage mind was convinced that they would greet their liberators with joy, and possibly with a monkey high five, on their way to their new lives. I was wrong, as any idiot ever was. Have you ever witnessed a juggler toss around running chainsaws? Now please imagine standing in front of said juggler as he tossed the screeching razor-sharp chainsaws at you while you're bent over with your hands on your knees. The 2-foot-tall, 20 pounds or so monkeys screeched directly at me. The arse beating that ensued was thorough and complete. My screams were indistinguishable from the monkeys. Shirts shredded and bleeding from many more than a few bites. Scratches from the monkeys' pimp slaps. I couldn't retreat fast enough, and a couple of others crossed the bridge and rallied to the cause and joined in their righteous beatdown of their savior. Kicking and flailing was fruitless. You simply can't punch a monkey. It's impossible. The monkeys either grew tired of kicking my arse, or they couldn't stand my screeching any longer, and they went their separate ways, following the footsteps of my friends, who wasted no time in allowing me to take the beatings for everyone. Here's an epilogue. The wounds from my beating was explained away as a fight over a girl, and the only punishment that ensued was over the missing whiskey. After several weeks, all the monkeys were rounded up and returned to their monkey island. I don't know how long monkeys live, but if they're still out there, frack you little frackin' frackers. So, like most posts here, this didn't happen today but a few years ago. So to preface, I love taking baths. They are my absolute favorite. Just soaking in the hot water, maybe watching some trash television on my laptop, and relaxing is everything. My best friend who knew this had gotten some bath bombs as a gift from Lush. She didn't really take baths, so she asked if I wanted them. I didn't really know what they were, but I was an adventurous person, so it looked like a bath was in my future. She told me all that I had to do was drop it in. When I did, it immediately started to break apart and bubble, releasing a great aroma. I'm not going to lie, the color of the water looked ominous. But again, I'm an adventurous person. It can't be that harmful, right? Well, I got in, took an amazing bath. But as I got out, I noticed that there was glitter on my arm, and it wasn't coming off. I looked at my leg, and it was shining too. Now I'm in a panic. I looked at the packaging, and in small letters it said contains glitter. Oh, and I also had to work in an hour. Now I'm a 6'6" black man. And while I am gay, I am more masculine and haven't really ventured into the world of glitter. I got into the shower immediately and started scrubbing, but it wasn't coming off. I looked like I was in the movie Twilight, and it was everywhere. I mean everywhere, if you catch my drift. I got as much off as I could, but from the looks I got at work, I'm sure I missed some. From what I could tell, it took a few days to get off. So yeah, if you're inspired to buy one of those bath bombs from that post, Just make sure that it's glitter-free and save yourself some embarrassment. My teammates and I go to the pub after every football game, and this occasion was seemingly like no other. As the rest of my team queued up at the bar, bought their drinks and went outside to sit, I was the last to be served with my friend and my girlfriend. My girlfriend nipped to the toilet, so I made my order. It should have been very ordinary, very predictable experience. 2 pints, please, I say. So far, so good. Anything else? She asked. Once again, a standard response. Yep, that's it, I respond confidently. You sure? She asked again. Something immediately doesn't seem right. Perhaps she thinks I've forgotten to order some pork scratchings? Yep, I say, this time a little less confident. Did you want to buy one for the lady? She asked, before gesturing towards the end of the bar. At the end of the bar, there was a girl sitting on a bar stool. Now in this moment, time stops and I assess the situation. The lady in question is sitting at the end of the bar, eating McDonald's. She's with 2 other guys and is chatting very familiarly with another barmaid. Instantly, I assume that this girl and the barmaid serving me are either friends or she herself is an off-duty barmaid. Understandably, I'm fairly put out. Quite clearly, she's trying to get me to buy a drink for her mate. She clocked me coming in, knows that I look fairly timid and is going to exploit my inner Englishness by putting me in an awkward situation that I'm desperate to get out of. Maybe previously, she'd have every reason to think that. Maybe in the past, I'd succumb to the desire to not get in a confrontation and would just agree to buy her a drink. But no, not this time. How dare her that she assumes that she can manipulate me that way. I turn back to her to respond. It's probably only been a second or so. Nah, you're alright, I say. I've won. I've vanquished the evil dragon. I am king of my own castle. No one tells me what I can do. Okay, she responds, and raises a quizzical eyebrow. That was not the response I expected. I'm immediately aware that the general tempo and atmosphere of the exchange has become somewhat sour, and I can't for the life of me think why that is. Is there an issue? I ask. The barmaid replies, I just thought you'd want to, that's all. That's frackin' cheek. She knows I wouldn't want to. Of course she does. She's amped up the awkwardness. She's going all in. No, I'm not going to do this. I became desperate. Well, would you if you were me? I ask. I desperately want to know the answer. Probably yes, she replies. Why? What? What the frack is going on? I look around. I'm getting panicked. Does it say somewhere that I have to buy the staff a drink? And so I do something that I detest myself for. I fold. I give in. The situation has gone on far too long already. I wanted to be gone, with a beer and outside with my friends. Fine, I say. I have a face like thunder, like a petulant child. I'll get her one. The collapse of my resolve did little to ease the tension between us. The barmaid looked like she wanted the conversation to be over as well. Maybe she sensed that I was not a willing participant in this? Great, she says through a false smile. Why do you want to get her? At this point, the only weapon remaining in my arsenal was sarcasm. I don't know, you tell me, I scowl. Oh, that'll show her. Why on earth would I know? She exclaims. She's peed and it terrifies me. What the frack is going on? I want out of this conversation right now. I want to be out of the pub and in the safety of my friends, and I don't even want the fracking pint anymore. This should have been simple and it's not. Well, why would I know? I sputter. I'm running out of energy and patience. Well, she's your girlfriend, isn't she? She pleads and points to the end of the bar. Then it hits me. At the end of the bar, next to the girl, is a door. A door that leads to the toilet. The door my girlfriend went through 30 seconds ago. It's at this point that I should tell you that my girlfriend didn't want a drink. Part of me felt elated. There was a genuine reason why this was all happening. Just a simple miscommunication. I didn't even have to buy a stranger a drink. But there was one small problem. I couldn't say to the barmaid that I thought she was asking if I wanted to buy the stranger at the bar a drink, because that's what I thought she said. And why the frack would I agree to buy one for her anyway? Thankfully, the barmaid wanted out of the conversation even more than I did. My blurted response of, "No, it's okay, she actually didn't want one," was very quickly accepted, and my monies and beer was swiftly exchanged. Without making any more eye contact, I left the pub and haven't been back there since. Thank you again for joining me. So which one was your favorite of the 5? And if it's not included, tell me which one you thought was the best out of the past 10 episodes, I think. The one I was fond of the most? It has to be the beer standoff, because I love British humor, and that one was totally British. I'm starting to use another camera, although I had to start having someone else film it when I do my little skits at the beginning and end. It was actually a lot easier to edit. I made like a introduction video for new people who comes on my channel. As a matter of fact, I tagged it at the end of this, so you can watch it if you want to stick around. I hope you enjoy it. It'll actually show you how a quality camera actually looks. It looks really good in my opinion. So I hope you enjoy it. It's only like 30 seconds long, so it's pretty short. Hope you enjoyed the 3rd edition of Editor's Choice, and until next time, you're gonna fail. You might as well have fun with it. Hi, my name is Dallas with Fun with Failure. On Monday, Wednesday, and Friday I'll have 3 different narration videos. Monday it's going to be from Reddit TIFU talking about the everyday mistakes that we all make. Wednesday is a theme-based narration about funny encounters. Friday is the Neckbeard Experience, where we talk about embarrassingly awkward encounters with the unwashed, unshaven, opinionated creep bag. I think you'll enjoy. So I hope you join us, and just remember, you're gonna fail. You might as well have fun with it.